What's the answer? Start leaking information or some nonsense? No, that's nonsense. That's garbage. That's that's, once again, I've been very blessed. I've not really dealt with that. I've not dealt with, well, did you hear what he said? What? No, let's improve on offense and get our quarterback in a position to be successful. That's our focus. What someone's brother said or someone said, that will occupy very little of my time. And if there is a source, that source is unemployed. I mean, within seconds.
I am truly honored by the fact that every single time a piece of breaking NFL news comes out, a bunch of my biggest supporters and members of Mike Mafia tag me on Twitter and Instagram to immediately make content on it. I mean, it's just remarkable how many of you guys are out there trying to get my opinion on this, and it was just a very reflective moment for me. Unfortunately, the timing was just horrible. I didn't think he'd get fired at 12 a.m. Eastern time, so I actually took some time off. And ultimately, I am back at my house at 4 a.m. Eastern time making this video. So before we get to the content, I'm giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. We're doing the same exact giveaway to any follower that follows us on Instagram. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! We all know the number one thing I'm the most incredible at, and it's not making analysis videos or news videos, it's making my weekly NFL picks. I'm making this week's picks on my favorite platform to make picks on, and that's Bounty Sport. Because on Bounty Sports, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you can literally enter this contest for free, and I'm all for entering free contests so I could potentially win $1,400 in total prizes. And we all know how good I am at doing this, so let's get this party started. We got the Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. We got the Panthers and the Bills. Come on, bro. There's no way the Bills are gonna lose this one. We got the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. Zach Wilson doesn't look so good in New York, man. Let's go with the Dolphins. We got the Cardinals and the Lions. If I miss this one, I'm gonna die. Like, I'm literally gonna die if I miss Cardinals and the Lions. We got the Jaguars versus the Texans. I don't care if the Texans are ranked lower. The Jags are so incompetent, and it's not even their fault. We made so many videos on Urban that, like, we got the Washington football team against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Washington football team's really injured currently. We got the Cowboys versus the Giants. It would stink if my Dallas Cowboys lost this. The Bengals versus the Denver Broncos. Ooh, this is a tough one. I like Joey B and the gang. We got the San Francisco 49ers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go with the 49ers here. The Packers versus the Ravens. I don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play, but I can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. We got the Seahawks versus the Rams. Let's go with the LA Rams. And finally, the Buccaneers versus the Saints. That's an easy one, man. I'm sure I got all of them this week, man. There's not too many crazy picks here. I don't think there's not really any upsets. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about my picks. And remember, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you pretty much get to enter this contest for free because they give you a free $5 deposit. And thank you, Bounty Sports, for the sponsor. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? If I was to recap each and every single bizarre factoid I heard of Urban Meyer in the past 2 weeks, this video would be 45 freaking minutes long. So if you aren't up to speed with how crazy things have been going with Urban Meyer so far, please check out our previous 2 videos on the subject, because it is absolutely baffling how incompetent not only the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars was, or the ex-head coach rather, but in addition to that, the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, if you don't know the context of all this, man, on NFL.com, Tom Pelissero, 2 very freaking legitimate sources of information, came out and gave a whole breakdown on how horrible it is in Jacksonville, starting all the way from James Robinson being benched for no reason at all whatsoever against the Los Angeles Rams, and continuing to a pretty absurd report that had to do with Urban Meyer saying during a meeting that he's a winner and his assistant coaches are losers. and challenging every coach individually to explain when they've ever won and force them to defend their resumes. But on top of that, receiver Marvin Jones, one of the locker room's most respected and mild-mannered veterans, became so angry with Meyer's public and private criticism of the receiver group that he left the facility until other staff members convinced him to come back and had a heated argument with Meyer during practice. Ultimately, that led us to wonder whether or not this Marvin Jones news was real or not, because they're accusing Urban Meyer of a lot of bizarre stuff, and ultimately, well, Marvin Jones gave his piece.
I'll just say this. There was something that was brought to my attention that I didn't like too well. I approached him about it, and we talked, and we handled it like grown men, and that's all I have to say about that. So that was 2.5 weeks ago. So
now you can look at this at one of two ways. Either Marvin Jones had to communicate to his head coach how he truly felt about the situation, or all of these really bizarre stories about Urban Meyer are true. And we're not even scratching the surface of bizarre stories, because the Tampa Bay Times hit us with another bizarre story. Now, this is absolutely remarkable. The report is that ex-Jaguars kicker Josh Lambo claims that Urban Meyer kicked him during practice. This report was so freaking bad that it eventually resulted in Urban Meyer getting fired by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and here's how it happened. So apparently, Josh Lambo missed a field goal in each of his first 2 exhibition games and was stretching at practice as the team prepared to face the Dallas Cowboys in their final preseason game. Now, Lambo says, "I'm in a lunge position, left leg forward, right leg back," and Urban Meyer, while I'm in that stretch position, comes up to me and says, "Hey, dipshit, make your fucking kicks," and kicks me in the leg. I've covered sports for a long time, and I'm just trying to imagine a head coach saying, "Hey, dumbass, make your kicks," and then kicks the kicker just randomly as they're in practice. Now, Josh Lambo also added that Urban Meyer didn't call specialists by their names. Now, it was either kicker, punter, long snapper, or bag, dipshit, or whatever the hell it was. So it gets even funnier because Lambo actually begins to rank how hard of a kick it was, and it gets even more intense, and we got Urban Meyer's response as well, which, dude, what the hell's going on in Jacksonville? Lambo describes the kick as a 5 out of 10 in terms of force. He said he couldn't believe what had happened, that a boss struck an employee. Now, Lambo responded by saying, "Don't you ever fucking kick me again." And his response was, "I'm the head ball coach. I'll kick you whenever the fuck I want." Now, this sounds, I don't want to say I was there, but it sounds consistent with all of the reports that we've been hearing so far. Urban Meyer berating his head coaches. Urban Meyer saying,
If there is a source, that source is unemployed.
Urban Meyer getting into a shouting match with Marvin Jones. There's this sense of entitlement that comes with Urban Meyer, and I guess this is all consistent with that. Now, obviously, Urban is going to have the response that I'm expecting him to have, and that's Meyer denying the incident playing out that way. Both player and coach said there were people around to corroborate their respective sides of the story. Josh's characterization of me in this incident is completely inaccurate, and there are eyewitnesses to refute his account. Trent and I met with him on multiple occasions to encourage his performance, and this was never brought up. Now, Josh Lambo said the day after the alleged incident that Meyer approached him while in the nutrition aisle at the team's training facility. He sees me and I'm by myself, and he kind of cornered me and comes up to me and says, "Are you going to put a smile on that face?" And I'm so sorry, the response is really cheesy. Lambo responded by saying, "I'll smile if you stop kicking me." Dude, what the hell is NFL news right now? Lambo then expresses to Urban Meyer that he was not a fan of the way that he was coaching him, and Urban Meyer's response apparently included a threat, saying his response was, "Okay, if you don't like me doing this, okay, if you don't like me doing that, fine, but if you ever speak to me like that again, you'll be out of here." Now, that sounds fairly consistent. Urban Meyer loves to speak in threats, and he consistently has spoken in threatening messages like this. If you don't do this, you're out of here. If you don't do that, you're out of a job. We've seen this consistently consistently, which is what is kind of giving some credibility to this report, because we've caught Urban Meyer in lies before, and all of these reports are fairly consistent. Now, for all you know, it could be wrong. For all you know, this could be a hit out on Urban Meyer, and we're going to keep that in mind. But this is such a bizarre story. It's not even over yet. Lambeau said he was shocked at the response and also confused. He said he asked Meyer which part of his response offended him. And Meyer said, "When you responded to me out there on the practice field in front of everybody, if you have an issue and don't like me kicking you, well, then you keep it to yourself and you wait until after practice and after meetings and you come find me in the office and tell me privately." This is absolutely bizarre. So Urban's like, "No, I could completely embarrass you in front of your teammates and kick you and tell you to make your damn kicks," which, by the way, is not the way that you get the best out of your kicker. And ultimately, that's all that needed to go down, because very shortly after this report came out, we got breaking news from Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, and pretty much the entire NFL that after less than 1 year in Jacksonville, Urban Meyer is out as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, sources tell ESPN. Now, he is the very first head coach to not make it through his first season in the NFL since Bobby Petrino with the Atlanta Falcons. But the difference between Bobby Petrino, who is kind of a scumbag, probably a way worse scumbag than Urban Meyer, if I'm being honest. KTO made a great video on that. I highly recommend you go check it out. But the difference between him and Urban Meyer is the fact that Bobby Petrino actually stepped down, whereas Urban Meyer got fired the very first year into a 5-year contract. And Ian Rappaport supports this by saying that offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell is the interim head coach. Darrell Bevell always is finding himself in interim head coaching situations, man. I mean, last year he was the interim head coach for the Detroit Lions. I mean, I guess anyone is better than freaking Urban Meyer, but the official statement that we got from ownership, which is Shad Khan, is this: Darrell Bevell will serve as interim head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars for the balance of the 2021 season. Darrell succeeds Urban Meyer after deliberation over many weeks and a thorough analysis of the entirety of Urban's tenure with our team. I am bitterly disappointed to arrive at the conclusion that an immediate change is imperative for everyone. I informed Urban of the change this evening. As I stated in October, regaining our trust and respect was essential. Regrettably, it did not happen. Trent Baalke continues as our general manager and will work with Darrell to ensure that our team will be inspired and competitive while representing Jacksonville proudly over our final 4 games of the season, in the spirit of closure and recharging our players, staff, and fan base. I will not comment further until some point following the conclusion of the NFL season. Dude, it's so sad because you can just tell, like, I feel like Shad Khan is pretty much the equivalent to me when I play basketball. He wants to be a good owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars so bad, but he's just so bad at being an NFL owner. I mean, he just hires the wrong people consistently. Whenever he has an opportunity to strike gold, he fumbles the bag consistently. I mean, you literally had the Saxonville era that was just placed on your lap, and somehow you're able to alienate all the players that made the Saxonville era really good and had Blake Bortles as the face of your franchise, despite everyone knowing that Blake Bortles was not a franchise quarterback. I mean, yes, he had one good season, but we all could have told you that Blake Bortles was not a good quarterback. I don't think giving Doug Marrone 4 years as a head coach was a bad move, but right now he has another situation where literal gold is placed upon his lap in the form of Trevor Lawrence. And what does he do? He goes and hires a head coach that everyone knew was going to be a complete wash of a head coach, and he goes and hires a general manager with an absolutely horrific track record as a general manager. I said this literally a year ago when we all knew that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to have the #1 pick in the NFL draft. So long as they get the right man, the right general manager and head coach to build around Trevor Lawrence and make the most out of each and every draft pick, then this team was going to be great. But what do they end up doing? They go and hire a controversial head coach in Urban Meyer and hire a general manager that has consistently made questionable draft decisions in Trent Baalke. And what do they do with their first pick outside of Trevor Lawrence? They draft a running back with a first-round pick, which not only isn't a position of need, but they already had a really freaking good running back that rushed for over 1,000 yards in his rookie season. There's just so many issues with the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, and I'm really scared that what's going to happen to Trevor Lawrence is they're going to absolutely ruin any chance that this man has at a good career. I mean, it's like watching Andrew Luck all over again, where the Indianapolis Colts get this transcendent talent, but they don't get him a good offensive line in time, and by the time they get him all the pieces he needs to be successful, it's too late. He's already traumatized. He's been hit way too damn much. I really hope that they do a thorough search in regards to who the next head coach is, man, because I don't want to see what happened to Andrew Luck happen to Trevor Lawrence. I feel like this team should have easily been able to at least win 5 games this season, and that's the absolute floor. I felt like this team coming into the season, and you guys are going to call me crazy, and I know it sounds insane to you now that I'm saying it, but I thought this team could have made it to the playoffs, believe it or not. I felt like they had great pieces on defense. They had Miles Jack. I felt like CJ Henderson could have taken the next step. I felt like they had a pretty solid and underrated wide receiver core of Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, and DJ Chark. They had a 1,000-yard running back in James Robinson. Like, yeah, I know when we're looking at it now, it sounds absolutely bizarre because this team has looked horrible this season, but I don't think talent has been their problem. The entire problem was the fact that they just couldn't get a head coach to coach this team properly. You could give a 16-year-old a Lamborghini, but if he doesn't know how to drive stick, then what's the point? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm so sorry it took so long, man. I'll catch you guys on our next upload.